recharge. I was walking to my car, thinking about nothing in particular, when someone called out behind me, Elon Musk." I turned around. There was a guy, maybe in his 30s, jogging toward me with his phone out, big smile on his face, and I knew what was coming. I've been through this hundreds of times, thousands probably. Someone recognizes me, wants a picture, wants to say hello, wants to tell me about their idea or their project or how much they admire what I do. And usually, I try to be accommodating. I really do. I understand that for them, it's a big moment, a chance to meet someone they've seen on TV or read about, a story they'll tell their friends. I get that. And when I have the energy, when I'm in the right headspace, I try to give people that moment. Take the picture, shake their hand, listen to what they want to say. But last night, I just couldn't. I was exhausted. My mind was somewhere else. I had things I needed to think about, problems I was trying to solve, and I just wanted to get to my car and go home. So when this guy ran up to me, breathless and excited, phone already in selfie mode, I stopped him before he could ask. I said, "Hey, I'm sorry, but I really can't right now. I'm in a hurry. I need to go." And his face changed. Instantly. The smile disappeared. His expression went from excited to confused to angry. And he said, "Come on, man. Just one picture. It'll take 2 seconds." And I felt this pressure, this expectation, this sense that I owed him something, that saying no wasn't acceptable, that I had to say yes because he wanted me to. Even though I was tired, even though I wanted to go home, even though I had every right to decline. But I held firm. I said again, "I'm sorry, not tonight. I really need to go." And that's when it happened. He stepped closer to me, got right in my face, and he said, loud enough for other people on the street to hear, "You think you're too good for regular people? You think you're better than everyone else? I've been supporting you for years and you can't take 2 seconds for a picture?" And before I could respond, before I could step back or say anything, he shoved me hard, both hands on my chest. In the chaos of the moment, as I stumbled backward, something, his hand, his elbow, I'm not even sure, caught the side of my face near my eye. It happened so fast. This morning I noticed the bruise, a dark mark under my eye that I'll have to explain to people for the next week. And then he was yelling, "You think you're so special? You're just another rich guy who forgot about regular people, the people who made you successful. I hope your companies fail. I hope everything you've built falls apart." There were people around. Some of them stopped, stared. A few pulled out their phones, probably recording. Someone asked if I was okay. Someone else told the guy to back off. And he finally walked away, still yelling, still angry, disappearing into the night. And I just stood there for a moment, heart racing, adrenaline pumping, not because I was hurt, he didn't hurt me, not because I was scared, one angry person isn't a threat, but because of what had just happened, because of how quickly it escalated, because a simple no had turned into anger and aggression and an attack. I got in my car, drove home, and I've been up all night thinking about it. Not about the physical push, not about the yelling, but about the entitlement, about the expectation, about the fact that saying no to a stranger somehow made me the bad guy. This person didn't know me, had never met me, had no relationship with me whatsoever, but in his mind, he was entitled to my time, entitled to a picture, entitled to whatever he wanted from me. And when I said no, when I set a boundary, when I prioritized my own needs over his wants, I became the villain. I became someone who deserves to be attacked. And I keep thinking, when did this become acceptable? When did it become okay to feel entitled to other people's time and energy? When did no stop being a complete sentence? When did having boundaries make you a bad person? I think about this in the context of my age. I'm 53 years old. I've been doing this, being in the public eye, being recognized, dealing with people who want things from me for decades now, and it's gotten worse over time. People feel more entitled, more aggressive, more angry when you don't give them what they want. But I also think about this beyond just me, beyond just being a public figure, because this isn't really about fame or recognition. This is about boundaries, about the right to say no, about not owing people things just because they want them from you. And I wonder how many people listening to this have experienced something similar. Maybe not being physically pushed, but being made to feel guilty for saying no. Being pressured to give your time or energy or attention to someone who demands it. Being told you're selfish or mean or wrong for setting boundaries. For prioritizing your own needs. For not giving people what they want from you. How many times have you said yes to something you didn't want to do because you felt obligated? Because someone made you feel guilty? Because saying no would make you seem rude or selfish or ungrateful? How many times have you sacrificed your own well-being, your own peace, your own time because someone else felt entitled to it? I think about my parents' generation, people who are in their 70s and 80s now, and I wonder if they dealt with this same pressure, this same expectation that you have to say yes, that you owe people your time and energy, that setting boundaries makes you a bad person, or maybe it's gotten worse. Maybe we live in a culture now where people feel more entitled than ever, where everyone thinks they deserve access to everyone else, where saying no is seen as an offense, where boundaries are seen as barriers that need to be broken down rather than respected. I keep replaying the moment in my head, the way his face changed when I said no, the way excitement turned to anger so quickly, the way he felt justified in his response, like I had wronged him somehow, like I'd taken something from him by refusing to give him what he wanted, and the things he said, "I've been supporting you for years," as if that meant I owed him, as if following my work or buying a product or paying attention to what I do created some kind of debt, some obligation, some requirement that I had to fulfill. But I don't owe him anything. I don't owe anyone anything just because they know who I am or follow my work or have opinions about what I do. I don't owe strangers my time or my energy or my attention. Nobody does. And the fact that he felt I did, the fact that he felt entitled to demand something from me and get angry when I declined, that's the problem. I think about all the times I've said yes when I wanted to say no. All the times I've taken the picture or signed the autograph or had the conversation when I was exhausted or stressed or just needed space. And I did it because I felt guilty, because I felt like I owed people something, because saying no made me feel like a bad person. But why? Why should saying no make me feel guilty? Why should protecting my own time and energy and peace of mind make me feel selfish? Why should having boundaries make me feel like I'm doing something wrong? And it's not just about being a public figure. It's about being human, about having the right to say no, about not owing people explanations or justifications or anything else, about being allowed to prioritize yourself without being made to feel guilty about it. I think about people who are older, people in their 60s and 70s, people who've spent their whole lives saying yes, doing things for other people, prioritizing everyone else's needs above their own, feeling guilty when they put themselves first. How many of them are tired? How many of them resent all the things they've done out of obligation rather than choice? How many of them wish they'd said no more often? And I think about the younger generation, my children's generation, and I wonder what kind of world we're creating for them. A world where people feel entitled to everything, where saying no is seen as offensive, where boundaries are seen as selfish, where you're expected to give everyone whatever they want from you, regardless of your own needs or limits. That's not healthy. That's not sustainable. That's not fair. And yet, that seems to be where we're headed, toward a culture where entitlement is normal, where demands are acceptable, where aggression in response to boundaries is justified. After it happened, after I got in my car and drove away, I felt shaken, not because of the physical push, that was nothing, but because of the realization that this person felt completely justified in his response. He didn't see himself as wrong. In his mind, I was the one who had done something wrong by saying no. I was the one who deserved to be punished for having a boundary. And I wondered, how many other people feel this way? How many other people think that if someone says no to them, they have the right to get angry, to lash out, to attack? How many people walk through life feeling entitled to whatever they want from whoever they want it from. I called a friend this morning, an old friend who's known me forever, and I told him what happened. And you know what he said? He said, "Elon, this is what happens when people forget that you're a person. They see the public figure, the success, the money, the fame, and they forget that you're just a human being who gets tired and needs space and has the right to say no. They see you as existing for them, for their entertainment, for their needs, not as a real person with your own life and your own limits." And maybe he's right. Maybe when you're in the public eye, people do forget that you're human, that you have feelings and needs and boundaries just like everyone else, that you can't be on all the time, that you have the right to privacy and space and rest. But I also think it's bigger than that. I think we have a cultural problem with entitlement, with people feeling like they deserve things from others, with people getting angry when they don't get what they want, with boundaries being seen as offensive rather than healthy. I've been thinking about what I should have done differently. Should I have just taken the picture? Would that have been easier? Would that have avoided the whole situation? Just give him what he wanted, make him happy, move on with my night? But the more I think about it, the more I realize that's the wrong question. The question isn't what I should have done differently. I did nothing wrong. I set a boundary. I said no to something I didn't want to do. That's not wrong, that's not selfish, that's not mean, that's just being a person with needs and limits. The question is, why did he feel entitled to demand something from me? Why did he feel justified in getting angry when I declined? Why did he think pushing me and yelling at me was an acceptable response to not getting what he wanted? Those are the real questions, and they don't have easy answers. They point to something deeper, something cultural, something about how we treat each other, about respect and boundaries and entitlement. I keep thinking about the irony of it. He said he'd been supporting me for years, said I owed him because of that support. But support isn't supposed to come with conditions. Support isn't supposed to be transactional. If you support someone's work, you do it because you believe in what they're doing, not because you expect something in return. Not because you think it gives you the right to demand things from them. Real support is unconditional. It doesn't require reciprocation. It doesn't demand access or time or attention. It's given freely, without expectation. And the moment you start feeling entitled to something because of your support, it stops being support. It becomes a transaction, an expectation, a demand. I wonder if he'll see this, if he'll recognize himself in this story, if he'll realize that what he did was wrong, or if he'll still feel justified, still feel like I was the one in the wrong, still feel entitled to whatever he wanted from me. I wonder if he's told the story to his friends, if he's framed himself as the victim. If he said, "I just wanted a picture," and he was so rude about it, he acted like he was too good for me. If he's gotten sympathy from people who agree that I should have just taken the picture, that saying no was wrong, that I think I'm better than regular people, because that's how these things work, isn't it? The person who sets the boundary becomes the villain. The person who says no becomes the bad guy. The person who protects their own space and energy becomes selfish. And the person who demands and gets angry and attacks is somehow justified because they didn't get what they wanted. I don't have a neat conclusion to this. I don't have some wisdom about how to handle situations like this. I don't have advice about setting boundaries or dealing with entitled people. I'm just still processing it, still thinking about it, still feeling the weight of that interaction. What I do know is this: saying no is not wrong. Having boundaries is not selfish. Prioritizing your own needs is not mean. And nobody is entitled to your time or energy or attention just because they want it. Not strangers, not acquaintances, not even friends or family. You have the right to say no, always, without guilt, without explanation, without being made to feel like you've done something wrong. And if people get angry when you set boundaries, that's their problem, not yours. Their entitlement is their issue to deal with. Their inability to accept no is their failing, not yours. You are not responsible for managing their expectations or their emotions or their demands. Last night, I was physically pushed by someone who felt entitled to something from me. And it's made me think about all the times I've felt pushed, not physically, but emotionally, by people who want things from me, who expect things, who make me feel guilty for saying no, who make me feel obligated to give them what they want. And I'm tired of it. I'm tired of feeling guilty for having boundaries, tired of feeling selfish for prioritizing my own needs, tired of feeling like I owe people something just because they want it from me. I don't owe anyone anything. You know what the strangest part is? I went home that night and I felt bad. Not angry at him, not justified in my decision to say no. I felt bad, guilty, like maybe I should have just taken the picture. Like maybe I was wrong to prioritize my own needs. Like maybe I am the person he said I was, someone who thinks they're too good for regular people. And that made me realize something. This guilt I felt, this automatic response of blaming myself for setting a boundary, where did that come from? Who taught me that saying no makes me a bad person? That protecting my own space and energy is selfish? That I'm supposed to give everyone whatever they want from me, regardless of how I feel? I think about my parents, about how they were raised, about the generation that came before them. And I wonder if this guilt is something we inherit, something passed down. This idea that being a good person means always saying yes, always being available, always putting others first, never setting boundaries because that would be rude or selfish or ungrateful. But is that true? Is that really what being a good person means? Or is it possible to be a good person and have boundaries, to be kind and prioritize your own needs, to care about others and protect your own peace? I think the answer is yes. I think you can be all of those things. In fact, I think you have to be. Because if you never say no, if you never set boundaries, if you give everyone whatever they want from you all the time, eventually there's nothing left. You burn out, you become resentful, you lose yourself trying to be everything for everyone. And then you're no good to anyone. Not to the people you're trying to help, not to yourself, not to anyone. You become an empty shell going through the motions, saying yes because you're supposed to, but feeling nothing. Giving because you feel obligated, not because you want to. That's not healthy. That's